spot today. You've made it here early, so you're probably either listening to the recording, which is awesome. We appreciate recorded listeners, or you are listening live and you followed the reminder link, or you jumped in because you saw us up on your timeline. Either way, we appreciate that, however you found the show. So here early, we're doing some setup, waiting for people to get here, get their speaker spots, get microphones and stuff like that. So bear with us as we have Drew's got his hand up. Drew.
Noise, but yeah, I'm here for NFT NYC, having a great time, meeting some good people, and in this crazy Web3 world that trade JPEGs on the blockchain, seeing what they're up to.
Well, thank you for stopping by, man. Getting the live news on the street. Like he said, we've got man on the ground in New York City reporting from NFT NYC, and I'm sure he'll also have some earthquake update news. I know everybody on my timeline's been talking about that recent shake on the East Coast, so I'm sure he'll have.
So we felt a little bit this morning, and happy to report there have been no casualties of the Web3 people thus far. Our good friends in this space. So yeah, all good news on that front. I haven't seen too much damage here in New York from it.
That's good. I've been watching some of the reports. I had a busy morning, so I didn't get a chance to scour everything. But so far, it doesn't look like I've seen anything too serious. But we'll wait and see what everybody else comes in and says. A couple other people came up in speaker spots. I see JC got a speaker spot. How are you, bud?
Hey, nice. How are you? Nice. Thank you for having me. I'm from Dubai, so gearing up for the crazy events that's gonna happen here in Dubai this April, Token 2049, and a small event ETH Dubai and Arts DAO. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy here.
Thank you for stopping by. Drew, you got your hand back up, or is that just up from earlier? I might be missing that. Might just be from earlier. Joa got a speaker spot. Joa, how are you?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Doing well, man. What's on your mind?
Just, I was fully deployed a few days ago. I got out, moving stuff around, rebalancing, and trying to see where the moves are. Hopefully some alpha gets dropped here, but I can move on.
I hope so too. I'm looking around the crowd. I'm scrolling. I can't see everybody that's in here, but we got a decent live audience. So he's looking for you alpha spillers out there. If there's anybody that's got any good news, got any good alpha, I'm sure we're going to get some more people up. I'm looking through my speakers. I also see that David is up here. David, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? Happy Friday.
Good. Happy Friday too. Thank you for coming up and co-hosting with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anything to help out a friend.
Yep. We're definitely got a full panel today. Fridays can be like that. I don't know if everybody's at work today. Some people might have the weekend early. So I'm anxious to hear from the top down, what's it been like for you this week, David? What's on your mind news-wise? What's top of mind for crypto news?
So I'm largely big token focused. Macro events are always important for me. I believe that, in the United States, we've got an uncertain environment, and I'll go ahead and give a little bit of detail on that. The Fed has done an incredible job in terms of bringing down inflation, from the highs to where we are right now, around 3% year over year inflation. But the Fed's target is 2%. That last percentage point is going to be hard. They've got to do more damage to the economy before we get down to 2%. We had jobs numbers come in today. They were hot. That means, there are openings. We've got more people. We've got more spots in terms of jobs openings than we have people to fill those spots in the United States. That means employers have to pay up. That means that's more money in people's pockets. That means it's more money to spend and therefore drive prices higher. So we're in a little bit of a difficult spot because the Fed has already said, at least Jay Powell has said, that he's going to cut rates at least once this year. And so therefore, it's not really the environment for cutting, while we're seeing inflation still run hot, jobs still run high, unemployment rates stay really low. All that to bring it back to crypto, to me is we've got a couple of dynamics going on here. I see crypto, certainly the larger caps, being risk on assets. And if you've got a Fed that's going to keep rates higher for longer, That means folks are not going to go ahead and be as risk tolerant with their investments. And so on the one hand, you may have that. On the other hand, we've got Bitcoin ETF fever in the United States that is now going to spill over into a lot of institutions that need to get up to speed on cryptocurrency now that it's, a legitimate asset class by their definition, by institutions' definition. And so we're going to have inflows into Bitcoin and hopefully into other large tokens from institutions over the next couple of years. And so we've got some interesting dynamics we've seen, in Bitcoin. I would say
You still there,
volatility.
David?
Yeah, sorry, I cut out for a second. We're seeing a fair amount of intraday volatility or intra-night volatility, a couple $1,000, in either direction. I'd say somewhere between 66 and 70 is where we've been over the past bunch of days. And the movement has been pretty quick. We could go up 1,000 or 2,000 inside of an hour or two. And to me, that's, it's just interesting. I think it's, people need to go ahead and if you're a trader, use those swings to buy and unload and buy and unload. I think on the downside, if we cross 65,000, I think that's where people need to start thinking about what's the next, level below that. On the upside, it's probably around 72, 73,000, where we start to see a breakout. And again, I'm not a chartist, but that's what I think from a fundamental perspective in terms of what people are expecting, vis-a-vis the low price and the high price to be on this range before we break out in either direction. So that's where I'm, continuing to look, to watch, to wait and see. But a very exciting environment for that, for all that being said.
And I have an immediate follow-up because there's something that you talked about that I read another story about today. You mentioned the jobs were hot. The jobs market was hot. You said it a couple of times. I would ask two things. One, specifically, imagine someone in here did not know specifically what that meant. What does it mean when you say jobs are hot? You said that employers would have to hire up. I think you're referring to maybe increasing the wages to entice more employees to come out of the woodwork to take these jobs, right? And then my second question is what is that like relative to the story about California recently increasing their minimum wage? Is that an example of what you're talking about?
So I'll get to the California story in a second. In terms of what I mean regarding, employment, generally in the United States, a healthy unemployment rate is somewhere between 5 and 6% of people that are seeking jobs cannot find jobs and are unemployed. We've been hovering around and below 3% for some time now. And that's really not a good thing. That means that there are, jobs out there that that employers cannot find employees to go ahead and fill, which necessarily means to what you said, which is they're going to have to pay up. They're going to have to give people more money in order to go ahead and take those jobs. And that keeps people spending at a higher and higher clip. And even though we've had announcements largely from tech companies, but from other companies as well, even though we've had announcements about layoffs, they haven't been enough. And, one other part of this equation that is really important that, a lot of people don't mention is the labor participation rate, right? When we talk about unemployed, we're talking about people who are seeking employment who can't find employment. And what happened as a result of COVID, and I don't think we're ever going back from this, is a lot of people just dropped out of the employment pool for whatever reason, retired early or otherwise, found it, easier to live on the government's dime. But the bottom line is that we have a lot of job openings in this country, and not enough employees to go ahead and fill that, and that necessarily leads to a wage war by employers, which again leads to more money being in people's pockets to go ahead and spend and drive up prices of things. In terms of let me just comment on the California issue. The California issue is really, a political / policy issue more than anything of the far left. I don't want to go down a political and policy rabbit hole, but if you believe that no matter what, folks need to be taken care of, no matter how menial their job is, and no matter what their skill set is, because it's not good for society to have people being paid a wage that, frankly, they can't afford to live on, even that they still need to be reliant on federal aid, state aid, and you need to get them above the poverty level if, in fact, they're going to work. Then therefore they should get paid a wage that allows them to live. And that's really, again, we have that on the coasts here in the United States where, the Eastern Seaboard and the Western Seaboard are largely, much more left leaning in their political and policy views. And California is, I would say, the leader in the country when it comes to those things. And so therefore they have a higher minimum wage. I live on the East Coast where we also have a higher minimum wage in New York. And also, they have to have a higher minimum wage in those states because the cost of living is also higher in those states. Housing is more expensive. So is food. So is gasoline, so on and so forth. So higher minimum wage in those states, somewhat makes sense, even if you're not left leaning, because they have a higher level of prices on staples.
And that's a good macro top-down viewpoint on that. Before we move on, does anybody else want to touch on what he was talking about, the employment numbers, some of the minimum wage stuff? Does that spark any thoughts for anybody on the panel? Nobody's
Drew has his hand up.
And Drew's had it.
Yeah, but I was going to switch the topic back to crypto. I'm not a big macro kind of economics guy. I kind of rely on these other speakers for their expertise in that area.
Yeah, I mean, before we move on, let me just mention one thing, David, that you're saying. A lot of times, even when the economy's bad, assets pump first. They'll keep pumping before they come down. And good or bad, David, do you see a narrative where Bitcoin doesn't work, even if the economy goes down? Do you see a narrative where it doesn't work?
No, I see it working no matter what. I am a crypto person first and foremost. I mean, I come from a world, we all had lives before crypto. And so I come from a broader investing world, more kind of fundamental bottoms up analysis. Certainly have to keep tabs on the macro environment. But yeah, I can to your question, I think that crypto has a successful narrative in both an up and down market. And that's why I'm invested in it more than anything. I don't think it can lose. It's a store of value. If economies break, if financial systems break, if politics breaks down, if China goes to hell, if the United States, blows through, its balance sheet, where are you going to want to put your money? You're going to want to put your money in a non-sovereign, stable commodity or currency. We could, argue about the semantics, but Bitcoin is that. It's far beyond usurped gold. First of all, it's a finite commodity, which gold is not. In addition, it's digital, so it's so much more appropriate for our day and age. And then on the upside, I mean, it's a technology that's constantly being used for different cases. And therefore, if the market does run, it should certainly grow. And by the way, I'll make the last point. Sorry to go on, but institutions around the world are increasingly looking at Bitcoin as a part of their portfolio. And, for everyone on this space, I'm sure that makes, that's not new news. But, the pension fund of Japan, which is the largest pension fund in the world, manages over $1 trillion in assets, is undergoing an analysis of Bitcoin, whether to invest in it. The state of Arizona is undergoing an analysis whether to open up Bitcoin to their retirees to go ahead and invest in. I mean, every pension system, every endowment, every foundation around the world, it is either looking at it or has to soon look at it and allocate something to it. And whatever that something is, whatever that something percentage is, that number in terms of absolute dollars is
Can you all hear me? I
enormous.
think I rugged.
I can hear whoever that was.
Can you hear me, or am I off?
David, I got you. I got you. I don't know who that was. Can you hear me, David?
Yeah, we're able to hear.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So I think the amount of money that's going to be coming in over the next couple of years from institutions, pension funds, is going to be enormous into this asset class. So to Joe's point, in a down market, in an up market, I think that there is no lose, long-term situation or scenario for Bitcoin.
Can I jump in here very quickly? I think
Sure.
the narrative that we overlook and that is extremely strong, and I think that there's only one guy that is able to go and pitch this type of narrative is Larry Fink. That's the sovereignty narrative. I think BlackRock now is doing a significant effort into go into all sovereign wealth funds, any institution that is related to a sovereign entity, and pitching to them the fact that constituent reserve in this new asset class is an insurance. Okay, it's an insurance policy. It allows them to have, if this thing becomes what we hope it will be, then it will solve a lot of problems of over politicization of an underlying currency, especially if you're a government where your reserves are constituted of majority of another country's reserve. Obviously, that opens you up to all type of political risk and politicization and manipulation, really, of that, or weaponization of that underlying instrument. So, and I think Larry is extremely good at identifying what is an efficient sell. And I think this is one of the most efficient sells, because obviously, if he convinces a couple of leaderships in every single region to adopt this as a reserve, then we're talking about about the network effect. That is an interstate, an international, and intra-state, and regional type of virality. This is first thing. The second thing that is extremely important is that although we don't hear a lot of announcements around this is obviously something that is taking place right now, and I think this is obviously the route that is taken by BlackRock and by anyone who has the attention of any type of sovereign, and I think this is a very strong narrative, and obviously in addition to the natural liquidity cycle that benefits this environment, and in addition to a natural state of the technology, etc. So that's my take on a macro level, and I think this is a macro element that is extremely important, and you will see it reflected in the volumes very soon, either be it on the Bitcoin as an asset or on under other asset classes such as ETH, etc.
Great points. Drew, I know that you had said you had a hand up, and I don't want to ignore that. Are you ready to come back to that now? He may have actually been the one that got rugged. I'm not sure.
JC, you want to go ahead and get involved? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Just to add on the conversation, decentralization as a technology is something inevitable that will happen in the future, and countries that actually are implementing regulations and adopting those technologies are the ones that are actually attracting the companies and the firms, investment firms and the banks, to move to these countries, basically. So we are seeing a lot of surge in Miami and Dubai and Singapore, of course, because of those regulations. And people will need to trust in decentralization as a technology But at the same time, they also need to do their own research, because there's a lot of blockchain and projects and Web3 dApps that actually are they claim to be decentralized, but they abuse their power in some ways. So in the future, I think more and more people will understand and know what they are investing in, so that they can avoid any loss of assets while investing in any startup or any crypto token. And they are understanding better what to hold their money in, and which is really decentralized, which is controlled, and what technology is actually building for the betterment of your financial freedom. So we need to always audit. We always need to ask developers about a certain blockchain, about a certain protocol, before actually going into it. And the governments are actually should help in that, instead of trying to ban them or to bring lawsuits to them. They should instead make clearer regulations. And the same way there is regulations for a lot of Web2 companies and casinos and a lot of businesses that involve people's money. um, Governments should understand how the technology work, and I think this is actually beginning to happen in Dubai, especially where there is 6 regulators issuing crypto enabling licenses, um, and in Abu Dhabi and the whole of UAE. And so yeah, that's like my take on it. We should always do our research and empower the technology, because it is what will bring us uh, closer to this financial freedom.
JC, can I ask? Do you think the 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 freedom that is being given in Dubai and Abu Dhabi can permeate the rest of the Arab world? Because certainly here in the United States there is talk and concern, certainly by legislators on a self-serving basis, that they won't necessarily say it clearly, but if they allow crypto, if they allow Bitcoin to go ahead and float freely, politicians can lose their power. And
We don't
Exactly.
have politicians here. We don't have
yeah,
politicians.
yeah,
That answers your
Yeah,
question.
so the problem is that's an amazing question. The problem is that some Arab states, like talking from experience, because I am originally from Lebanon, from Beirut. We actually don't trust our financial institutions, nor sometimes the government, because there is a lot of uh, like centralization, to call it, and a lot of problems that don't give the people actually the power to transact, um, to put their money to trust, to put their money in banks, which is maybe not the case in the US. And by the way, in my opinion, I think countries that have a failed financial system are the countries that adopt crypto the first, the most, and try to actually use it as a better alternative of their financial systems. And when there's a need, there's a will. Like, people actually search for solutions, and once your government fails you, it's when you actually see a surge in using technologies such as Bitcoin. But in the US and maybe in Europe, this still is something that needs maybe people need to trust crypto more, or maybe have a reason to do it. Hopefully they don't need that reason anytime in the future. But if something happens, this is when people will actually use it. And when they don't have the freedom, this is when you search for the freedom, and actually want to bring power back to your assets and control your assets the way you want, without any banning or any blacklisting. But of course, the governments should create regulations so that also those assets will be used in a legal way as well, not to fund certain illegal organizations or anything that is happening at the same time. So that's why the governments should work with the technology instead of against it, because some people they just want to live a normal life. That's the problem.
Yeah, just a quick answer on the prospects of the GCC, especially UAE with the new regulation. Obviously, as the gentleman said before, there is 6 regulatory bodies. The DIFC also just issued a new global rule book regarding cryptocurrencies, etc., etc. So there is obviously a big effort to legislate, to give clarity, and to attract companies that operate in this environment. Obviously, we don't want these entities are very careful not to attract Ponzi-nomics. They want to attract, things that have a use case and could better the over. I mean, it will attract anything that is an innovation and that is a true innovation. Obviously, in innovation, you have a lot of misses, and you have few great hits, and hopefully, the next hits will bring value first to this region, and will establish leadership of this region in the world. Now, when you talk about the GCC, or you talk about the UAE versus the Arab world, you're talking 2 different worlds, really. One is over politicized, which is the Arab world, as our friend here was talking about Lebanon. Lebanon, for example, is a place where you still leadership is still divided among ethnic lines and religious backgrounds, and where you have and the complete opposite, which is the UAE. You don't really have politicians. You have policymakers, but everyone works towards one goal, which is in better the common cause, which is a greater living for everyone. And so you have two different. And I don't think there is a contagion factor. We would like. I mean, we all hope that there is some kind of contagion. And obviously, whatever happens in the UAE will become standard everywhere else. Whatever success story we have here will become standard everywhere else. But at the same time, it's not given, right? Because, I mean, other places have their own challenges and have their own setbacks, etc. But at the same time, what you see really is a great migration. So you see a lot of people from all over the Arab world coming here, trying things, and the regulation, the policymakers, and the environment as a whole encourage anyone really that wants to do something good for everyone to come, and they offer clarity, they offer support, and it shows today. It's becoming one of the best places to raise capital, especially this time around. There is clarity how to raise that capital, etc. Even that you have these sets of rules, our industry, it's a gangster type of industry, right? So you're gonna have people, trying to cut corners, etc. And let's hope that they don't cut too many corners, because when there is legislation and you cut corners, obviously you expose yourself to legal risk and litigation, etc. So that's basically try to answer what your question was.
Can I have? Hola, guy. Can you hear me? Can I say something?
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, it's Skyfi. So, firstly, hola to everyone there, and thank you, Mario, for inviting me to the show. To discussing about the policy of a country, I want to show my perspective. Firstly, I describe the two sides of the politicity, two indicator. The first one is about the government. The secondly is user. So from the government, they want to control the crypto market because yearly and big amount of money. I mean, the tax fee is controllable from the government, so they want to make a policy for this. Yeah, okay, people can have their support. I mean, from the government, but they want to control that big amount of money. The market is in a small size comparing to stock market or everything uh, all over the world. So they want to make the rule ASAP to control their tax. And from the user side, they want why do they need the crypto? It's like I agree the technology and the technology is a big thing about blockchain, but it is a it blockchain is not yet an irreplaceable technology. You know, people don't need it for life. If they you want to make crypto to go viral, to spread the news, to mass adoption, we need something. Is like we need that for life. You know, so I'm not yet see that potential from the blockchain. You got this?
I wasn't understanding completely. You mean because it's not regulated? Then what? Because it's not regulated?
Yeah, it's not irregular yet because the blockchain is not yet an irreplaceable technology, bro. People can live without this. It's like I think the next chapter of Web3 and blockchain technology is when the user need it like some big huge narrative like data like people want to control their data in the uh, in the social life because
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't know that we need it yet, right? Because with the advent of AI, which you can create a fake human digitally to react to people, I think having trustless society becomes really important. Uh, I think it was a tech that was developed before a need, but I think we keep finding more and more needs. I do want to go to Drew though, because he's had his hand up for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I got rugged. Just another reminder: don't ever connect to Wi-Fi, and don't ever click links and connect your wallet when you're in cryptocurrency. So, but anyway, yeah, just I don't really have a whole lot to add to that conversation. I would like to kind of switch it more towards the title here, how to buy tokens before listing. I think there's a lot of great opportunities to do that. And obviously, DAPT Official is one of those resources available to you. What I've found is just kind of using Twitter and just kind of networking with people who are in the space, who are active and are actually building. So like a number of developers, project leaders, really intelligent people like Mario and his crew that just enjoy diving into the weeds and really getting to know this blockchain technology that we're using here. So, from that comes opportunities, and you kind of get connected with more people, typically on like Telegram, that app, into different groups where you find out about projects in their infancy as they're being created, and you're able to kind of join in and add value where you can. And I think that's where you find opportunities in this space. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Appreciate this panel and all the alpha that's being shared.
Do you think that launch pads overall are a great place to find those things, or do you rely on multiple places, Drew?
Oh, absolutely. Launch pads are where things are, get started. It makes it easy for for people who are newer to cryptocurrency to launch their token gated communities and really kind of build on that without much development experience, and especially if you're just doing something straightforward and non-complex. You're not trying to push the envelope forward in some direction, and just want to be kind of like a standard token gated community. Then launch pads are perfect for that. And there's plenty of options on every blockchain and on every layer too that you could use. So yeah, absolutely.
Drew, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to a successful launch on a launch pad from your experience.
Yeah. So it kind of depends on what your overall goals are with your token gated community and how, like, your plans for how long you're going to run it and where you're trying to take your community. So like right now we're a couple weeks from the Bitcoin halving. So you want to be building or be part of a community that is building a project for the entire bull run for the next year and a half, and then has a plan to kind of navigate the bear market after that, assuming this isn't a super cycle, which I'm in that camp. So then, when you're planning your launch, you'll want to work with some partnerships as far as, to spread the word, to get it out, to actually, not just give the message to like what they call flippers and jeeters, or people that just want to be in your community for a quick buck, a little quick profit. You want to actually, have opportunities to get connected to individuals, probably pseudonymous individuals, but people that, authentic people who want to be part of your project and, align with what your mission is and your goals are with that project. So I find that helpful, just kind of partnering with, as I'm a developer, and the projects I work with usually want something a lot more complex than what they can get with a launch pad, and that's kind of my wheelhouse, is working with those type of projects. But all projects in general, you want to partner with people in the space who have the connections and have the are a good fit for your team to bring in the right community members to add value to your project for the long term. And I think that's the goal with everybody. So as far as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series of operation, first you've got a brand. Just like any business, you have to have a brand, an identity, a clear direction and goals of where you're taking it. So it's what they call a white paper. You'll want to put that together. You'll need a website. You'll need your groups, whether that's people last bull run use Discord a lot. This bull run, this cycle, we're using Telegram a lot more. You can kind of create your kind of smaller team unit groups in there. So like your marketing group, your you need memes. So you'll have your meme group in there. You'll have your overall project group that's like kind of a general one, welcoming people. You'll want to have a token gated group. So that's your community members who actually own your token and are part of the token gated community. So you'll want to have that group, and you'll want to get all those things set up before you start spreading the word about your project to people. So that way they've got a place to kind of go and land and become part of your community. And then it's just kind of launch mechanics and just learning from other projects, what's worked for them, what hasn't worked for them, and try not to make the same mistakes and just try to do what they've done that's successful. So how they've spread the word and gotten real community members into their space. So I think that'd be probably steps 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then obviously you want a successful launch. I know like all the projects that I've seen that have launched in partnership with like Mario and his spaces and kind of done live launches, they've all been wildly successful. So, I think having people like that can vet out your plan and make sure it's a good long-term vision, and you're not going to hit stumbling blocks that other projects have had that have created a pump and dump or kind of a short-term result. You want to learn from people in the space that have seen and just had the experience of multiple cycles and have seen that with thousands of projects. So you'll want to learn from them and just be open and honest, ask them questions, and kind of partner with those people to help you launch successfully, because that launch day is so crucial for what it sets up your community for and how long your project's going to run. So, I think all the speakers here on this stage are great to learn from, and there's plenty of great people in this space on that side.
True. I actually had a question for you, if you don't mind, Pulse. How do you?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'm going to do an intro after that. Go ahead.
How do you avoid the ones where snipers are going to react? Like, is there a way to know? Because I've been able to get in early on some projects, but then there's some that, the snipers come, which has gotten really, really good at doing it, and they kind of destroy a project. Is there a way to know that they're coming?
Yeah.
Can you define a sniper?
No matter what.
Can you define a sniper?
So sniper is a bot. It's a front-running bot, or a sniper bot is kind of the term. There's plenty of bots. There's med bots, arbitrage bots, sandwich bots. Just know in cryptocurrency, you're playing against bots. You're playing against experienced developers and people that have paid to have these bots created. And if you engage in tokens in this space, you're going to engage in bots, and that's just the reality of the situation. So as far as sniper bots, what I always recommend to projects and what I put into the code is a couple of anti-whale features. So you'll have, and you can do higher taxes at launch that'll keep bots out. There's a bunch of ways that you can navigate bots. It just depends on your project's goals. But I think every project should have a max transaction of like 1% or below, and a max wallet size, whatever you want to set that to, so that way you allow your actual long-term community members to make a couple buys of the max transaction to kind of accumulate what they want in your project. And obviously people can use multiple wallets for that as well. So I think that's one way. Second, it kind of depends on, like with taxes, how you want to navigate that. Typically, you'll have a different tax structure for launch day versus your tax structure for the long-term success of the project, which you'll see most just remove taxes altogether for the long term. But on launch day, navigating bots and people watching what they call live new pairs on a bunch of services, and just kind of your flippers and your people who try to take advantage of launches to maximize their own profit and engage in projects, whether nefariously or not. You'll want to use like a tax structure to kind of combat that. So whether it's a high buy tax, some people use like a lot of bots will transfer tokens, so they'll use like a transfer tax, which I don't like. I think it's un-American. And then maybe a high sales tax. My favorite approach is leave the buy tax the same, so that way you're not taxing the real people. I welcome bots into my project because I have a high sales tax structure, like as atrocious as 16% is kind of like a standard one that we use for launch day. And so it allows all that transaction volume to come in, and it allows your project to benefit for the long term with that tax structure, because your long-term community members are just going to pay that launch day buy tax to get in on the project, which is kind of a smaller nominal fee. And then the people trying to trade and maximize profits of launches and the bots and all the other chaos will come in and out of your project, and they'll have a high sales tax, so they can still make money, and they do make money, through all the launch mechanism and how projects roll out. But with a high sales tax, their interaction with your project on launch day adds like a community fund to your project that you can use for the long-term success of your project for, your normal operating expenses, like of your business, of your project. So that's my preferred way to navigate launches.
The tax information is crucial too, because that's something that when people are aping into stuff, they don't always stop and take the time to go look at the taxes and see if there's a structure where they're going to change. So those are valuable points. If anybody down there is listening,
and
coming from a developer.
Yeah, and on that topic.
Yeah, that's okay. I got it. No, that's cool. Well, cool. Hold on. We're running short of time, and I got someone I got to get the microphone to. So that's a perfect segue for us to get into, because we were talking about launch pads and all that other stuff. That was his perspective. I'd like to hear from the guys at DAP-Pad about their perspective, because they've obviously had to deal with this enough that they've created a launch pad. And I know we've got a couple people here that I want to hear from. DAP-Pad, are you available to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm here. I will talk for the DAP-Pad. I just want to introduce to DAP-Pad. Yeah, we are proposing a new approach for the design solution that faced by existing launch pads. What are these kind of problems? Accessibility, transparency, and onboarding problems. We are currently faced, for the funding phases. So how we are giving a solution for these kind of problems? We are doing it by the abstracting the account, abstracting the blockchain, and abstracting all of these things. How we are doing it, this is the account abstraction, is a new technology, and hopefully it will be a revolution at the near future. We will see for every application, and maybe I can explain it a little bit. For example, you want to invest some projects, and at the DAP-Pad, you will come and you will just onboard with the social media, for example, Twitter, or your Gmail, or any other social media stuff. You can log in and you can sign up, and thereafter you will just abstract it from the network, abstract it from the account, and abstract it from the traditional way of the MetaMask or other wallets. With this way, we are providing the abstracted thing. So because Web2 users, is really use that stuff, and they have some, usage pattern. So they are using it like that, and we just created same as Web2, and Web2 users can onboard it very easily with this way. And besides that, it's a crucial thing that there are lots of security issues at the current state. And with this way, we are also creating a secure place for them, and they will have some different kind of, for example, your account hacked, and you can also put some limitations. You can also put some other thing as Google Authenticator or some other stuff, guardian stuff, I mean. And with this way, it will be really hard to hack any account abstraction smart wallet. And we integrated it for our Launchpad. Besides that, with this way, we are not limited with the web applications. We are also at the mobile, and we believe in the mobile is the future, along with the account abstraction, and all the abstraction stuff will be available at the mobile. And we believe that that will be a revolution at the near future. And we just want to, contribute to this revolution with our DAP-Pad. Maybe this is a short introduction.
So we talked a lot about.
Yeah,
we talked a lot about users using launch pads, but I would have a question for you, because I would imagine you have two different types of customers. You have individual users looking to come and purchase part of these launchpad products, but then you also have projects themselves looking for launch pads all the time. What are the advantages that they have choosing DAP-Pad and having that account abstraction? Like, why is that more valuable to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. And DAP-Pad is, yes, we have the two sides of the investors, and we have the projects that want to be funded. And at this point, Along with the account abstraction, yeah, we are onboarding lots of users. Besides that, we have the paymaster stuff. With this paymaster stuff, for example, you don't need any native gas at this chain. For example, maybe we can take an example for the Ethereum. At the Ethereum network, you have you need this native coin of this network for the paying the gas fees. But at this stage, we just want to become easy, and they will just come and they will not think about gas fee or other stuff, and they will just think about the usage of the application. They will just come and invest. That's it. Of course, they need to top up their accounts with the money for the investments. That's also another case. And Web2 users, using the on-ramp things for the off-chain stuff, they will just come and they will just top up their account with the credit card. And with an easy way, it will be as the stable coin USDT, and they will just invest. They will not think about the another stuff. And with this way, we are really doing it easy for all the investors. And along with that, projects will also use this technology at their project funding stage. And with this way, we are also providing them as a service. I mean, paymaster service, and they will have their token as gas fee on our platform or on their own platform. With this way, we will abstract the fees with this custom paymaster stuff. So this is another benefit for the projects, I will say.
And then there's one question I would have to ask, because I know I've got a lot of people listening right now. Does DAppPad itself have a token? What's that about?
Yes, exactly. We have the token, and our ticker name is the APPA. And this token also is on the top of our platform. As I said, we have the custom paymaster at the ZK Sync Era network. And at this point, we are using our token directly as the gas fee. For example, you buy the APPA from the market, and you will use it at our platform for all transactions as a gas fee. And you don't need any other native coin or other stuff. Along with that, also we will have the mobile application, and you can access all the other solutions. You can swap, or you can top up your account with a credit card, or any other stuff. We will also list all the dApps at our mobile and web application, and you can use them, and you don't need to go any other place, do anything. We are more than Launchpad, and we are really more than that. So at this point, the APPA also will be used for all these transactions. So if you want to reach the really valuable Tier 1 projects, then you need an APPA token, and you can stake it, and you can reach the allocation from you can get allocation from these projects as well as that. Yeah, that's the
Can you
main
take a look
utility.
for me? I think I pinned up top. If I picked the right post from your profile, can you confirm for me that if anyone was interested, that's the right posts to follow?
Which post? Let me check it.
If you look up top in the nest or in the top of the pin posts, I think I put only one up there. Anybody that's in here that's listening that's interested in DAppPad, there's a pinned post. You should also follow their profile and make sure you stay up to date with the news they've got going on. I just wanted to say thank you for you guys coming in and going over that stuff with us today. Launchpads are something I've used different launchpads and stuff. So anytime I hear about a new one, I've got to make that bookmark myself. So if anybody else that's listening is not familiar or not heard of DAppPad, I hope they are on your radar today. Is that post the one you would want them to see, sir?
I think not, but no problem at all. They can reach our profile, and they can go from there any other place, website,
Remember,
Telegram.
when you guys go to a new profile, all your profiles on X have a highlights section.
Yes.
So if you click on DAPPad's profile right now, check their highlights section. That's the easiest way to get a look at what anybody on X is currently doing or what they're currently proud of. And for those of you out there that don't curate your highlights section, that's a good reason to do that, because people are getting more savvy about checking their highlights section. So before we wrap up the show, DAPPad, would you have any kind of a call to action? What would you want to say to everybody listening before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure. We have our funded stages, and we have finished it. Currently, we are preparing our token, APA token, for the listing. Hopefully, we will also list that some a centralized exchange soon, and along with the of course decentralized exchange. And this is the after the launch of our token, you can join our public sales and some other Taiwan projects along with the APA. And APA is the key for all these funding stages. We are incubating the lots of project at the space, and hopefully at the near future we will start to raise the funds for the projects that want to launch on our platform. So yeah, thanks for the invitation to this show, and I just want to emphasize another thing about the DAPPad. We are not a classical launchpad. We are trying to integrate all the new technologies at our stuff, and hopefully we will really we will be available at the mobile phones, and we will reach really lots of peoples, Web 2 or Web 3. It doesn't matter. We will reach everyone with this way, and we will do it easy with an easy way, and we will try to meet all the investors and the other projects at the same page. I believe so. Thank you for listening, and that's all from our side about the DAPPad.
Carlos, can you please give me a follow? This is Zillian. I would like to discuss with you a tier 1 project. Thanks.
Hell yeah, boys, that's networking. That's what X Spaces are all about. And he's actually right. You should be following all of the speakers that have been up here. Obviously, you guys are following Mario. That's how we ended up here today. But you should be following me and David and Kalis and Al Pacino and the DAPPad crew and all the other speakers that we had up here who I can't name right now, because between you and me, you guys, my UI bugged out. I can't see anybody in the spaces. I'm flying blind. So normally I would say, and Zillian, yeah, thank you, Zillian. I appreciate you. See, he knows how to shout it out. He knows how to get it. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Mario hosts spaces all day long over all the best topics on X, whether it's politics, sports, crypto, NFTs, just generally anything. You should be following Mario, and that means eventually you're probably going to run into me and David and the rest of the crew again. So without further ado, we're going to wrap up the spaces. You guys have got places to go. I want to say thank you from Mario, from Mario's team at IBC, from David and myself.